Hello, and welcome back to The Quiet Mind, your sanctuary for calm, clarity, and actionable strategies to build a better life. I'm so glad you decided to spend this time with me today. If you're a long-time listener, you know we're all about finding simple, low-effort ways to conquer the mental chaos of modern life. If you're new here, grab a warm drink, settle in, and let's dive into something that I think will fundamentally change the way you look at self-improvement. Because today, we're not talking about massive life overhauls or grueling daily schedules. We're talking about a concept so simple, it's almost insulting in its effectiveness: habit stacking. Let's start by examining a frustrating, ongoing trend I see reflected everywhere, perhaps even in your own efforts. It's the pattern of the new beginning. We see this surge of enthusiasm every new year, every Monday morning, or right after reading an inspiring productivity guide. It's the feeling of total, unbounded commitment. The resolution is often massive. I'm going to meditate for 30 minutes, journal 3 pages, work out intensely for an hour, learn a new language, and finally reorganize the entire basement. We try to construct an entirely new, improved life from a blank slate. We look at our day and declare, okay, I have 24 hours. Where can I successfully squeeze in 5 new difficult habits? And what inevitably happens? We might crush it for 2 days, perhaps 5, but then real life intervenes. A poor night's sleep, a stressful meeting at work, or an unexpected challenge hits. And instantly, the entire tower of new habits crumbles. The brain, already dealing with cognitive fatigue and stress, looks at this huge, demanding new list and rightfully signals, nope. Too much input required. Let's default back to ordering easy food and scrolling mindlessly. We mistakenly attribute this failure to a lack of willpower when, in reality, it's a catastrophic flaw in our system. The trend is always the same: big start, rapid burnout, total collapse. We try to invent time and motivation from thin air, and when those finite resources run dry, we feel overwhelmed, defeated, and convinced that we just aren't disciplined enough. But I assure you, it's not a failing on your character, it is a failing of the method. This pattern of burnout brings us directly to our topic today: habit stacking. If the traditional, often failed method of habit formation is trying to build a new, isolated skyscraper, a habit standing all on its own, habit stacking is simply attaching a small, new, modular addition to a sturdy building that's already there. It's a concept deeply rooted in behavioral psychology that masterfully harnesses the power of existing, ingrained routines to automatically trigger new ones. It eliminates the urgent need for motivation because you aren't searching for a moment of inspiration. You're simply using a pre-existing cue as your starting gun. The formula is elegant in its simplicity, and it goes like this. After this current habit, I will try this new habit. Think of your current automatic actions: brushing your teeth, finishing your first glass of water, locking the front door when leaving, pouring that morning cup of coffee, as fixed anchors in your day. These are moments your brain is already operating on autopilot. Habit stacking is the genius strategy of hijacking that autopilot to install a beneficial new routine without requiring any extra burst of mental energy. It makes the process seamless, subtle, and incredibly powerful against the feeling of being overwhelmed. To truly appreciate the solution, we must understand why starting new things is so hard. The core psychological hurdle is what we can call activation energy. It is the minimum amount of mental horsepower required to initiate any new reaction. For your brain, that reaction is the new habit. Consider common daily friction points. Take the wellness goal of starting a daily vitamin or supplement. Someone buys the bottle, places it neatly in the kitchen cabinet, and then it vanishes from their mental radar. Why? Because there is no natural, automatic cue. When are they supposed to remember the pill? The activation energy required to stop whatever they are focused on, remember the pill exists, walk to the cabinet, open it and take it, is too high, especially when the day gets busy. Then there's the nightly struggle with journaling. Someone decides they want to journal every night for better self-reflection. But once they are settled into bed, tired and relaxed, their brain sees the notebook and instinctively flags it. That's a new chore. It requires effort. The notebook becomes a mental obstacle. They default to the phone because the activation energy for checking social media is near zero. It's already in their hand, a deeply established, low-effort routine. The mental step of deciding to stop the easy habit, phone, and initiate the challenging one, journaling, drains the willpower reserves needed for the rest of the day. In all these examples, the failure isn't a lack of inherent discipline, it's a lack of a clear, reliable trigger. The new habit is floating in isolation, unsupported. It's like throwing a boat into the middle of the ocean and expecting it to find its destination without a map or a compass. It needs to be tethered to something solid. Habit stacking provides that necessary tether, effectively collapsing the activation energy to almost nothing. It transforms the start of the new routine from a moment of effortful decision into a moment of effortless sequencing. Now for the practical implementation. How to architect these connections so they become automatic. The foundational key is to make the solutions so simple they feel almost boringly obvious. The first step requires inventory. You must identify your anchors. Before you can stack anything, you need to map out the habits you perform automatically every single day without thinking. These are your reliable starting points. Look at your morning routine. You pour coffee, you brush your teeth, you put on your shoes before heading out. These are anchors. In the afternoon, perhaps you always take a mandated lunch break, or you automatically wait by the elevator. In the evening, you always lock the door when you get home, or turn off the main lights before going to bed. These established sequences are your building materials. Next, you must rigorously use the simple formula. Remember, the core structure is, after the current habit, I will try the new habit. The crucial element here is size. Keep the new habit tiny to begin with. The immediate objective is consistency, not performance. For instance, if your goal is cultivating mindfulness, you can establish the stack. After I pour my coffee, I will take 3 conscious, deep breaths. The sensory experience of the hot beverage becomes the immediate mental cue, and the small breath exercise follows naturally. If your goal is improving mental clarity, try this sequence. After I put my used plate into the dishwasher, I will write down 1 single sentence summarizing the best part of my day. The physical action of cleaning up after a meal acts as a perfect, discrete transition point, cueing that small mental reflection. To tackle stress reduction immediately upon arriving home, build this boundary. After I unlock my front door, I will place my phone on silent mode and put it inside a specific drawer. The physical act of entering your home cues the physical act of creating a mental separation from the workday. For hydration, leverage biology. After I use the restroom, I will immediately drink 1 full glass of water. This high-frequency, non-negotiable physical event becomes the anchor for your hydration habit. Finally, for improving sleep hygiene, use finality. After I turn off the kitchen light for the night, I will immediately plug my phone into the charger located in the living room, not the bedroom. The extinguishing of the light cues the separation from the device. Once you have established these basic sequences, you must engage in environment design. Habit stacking isn't purely mental, it's physical placement. You must make the new habit obvious and immediately accessible. If your stack involves stretching after brushing your teeth, then your stretching band or a small instruction note must be placed right next to the toothpaste. If you plan to read one page after sitting down with your coffee, the book must physically be sitting on top of the coffee maker or directly next to your usual mug. This step ensures that the conclusion of the old habit literally positions you in front of the object or location of the new habit. The moment the old routine ends, the cue for the next one is physically present, staring you down. We are engineering the environment to eliminate the need for a mental search or decision. Finally, once the initial link is unbreakable, you can focus on scaling up, the chain reaction. After your very first small stack is solid, say you've done the coffee breath sequence every day for 2 weeks, you build the next link onto the newly formed habit. You transition from stack 1, anchor. After I pour my coffee, I will take 3 conscious deep breaths. To stack 2, building on stack 1. After I take those 3 deep breaths, I will then write down one small thing I am grateful for. You are no longer building fragile, separate routines. You are creating a chain reaction. Each small, successful action immediately cues the next small, successful action, and the momentum becomes self-sustaining. This is the critical shift from feeling the weight of overwhelm to feeling the lightness of momentum. I promised you one final piece of advice, a crucial pro tip that works wonders when you are truly mentally depleted. If starting a new habit after an existing one still feels like too much lift, you can reverse the logic using the before stack. The formula shifts slightly. Before the current habit I love or crave, I will work on the new habit I struggle with. Think about leveraging that powerful pull toward a desired activity. You use the craving for the reward to drag the required effort along with it. For example, before I turn on my favorite streaming service to unwind, I will quickly stretch 5 times. Before I allow myself to open that addictive social media app, I will first answer one necessary text message or check one crucial piece of required information. Before I allow myself that first delicious sip of morning coffee, I will immediately drink one full glass of water. You are using the massive gravitational pull of a highly desired habit to launch the less desired one into your day. The reward is instantly promised, making the small effort feel completely worth the immediate payoff. It is perhaps the most effective psychological tool for overcoming that initial inertia. Habit stacking is not a complex secret. It's simply superior architecture for behavior change. It respects the reality that we are all busy, often tired, and easily prone to mental overload. It allows you to build a better life not through brute force or constant exertion of willpower, but through clever, almost invisible design. Remember this: success is rarely about making massive, sweeping changes. It's about making small, consistent additions to routines that are already operating on autopilot. Start incredibly small. anchor it firmly to something that's already true in your day. Then, simply watch the momentum build. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me today. I genuinely hope this concept helps you swap that recurring feeling of overwhelm for one of quiet, sustainable progress. If this discussion offered you a new perspective, please take a moment to share it with someone else who might be struggling to build better habits. And for more enlightening discussions focused on building clarity, calm, and effective systems for a peaceful mind, be sure to subscribe to our channel, The Quiet Mind. We'll see you next time.